essentially what I think is happening is that they're trying to do as much blood work as possible to find as many problems as possible so they can sell you as many products as possible.
Gotcha.
You hear the ongoing joke, right? That's like you would see a competitor at an NPC show trying to get first place using way more drugs than you may see an Olympian because they already know their protocols. They know that their weaknesses are maybe something else food oriented.
Right.
They're taking a more methodical approach.
That's so hard to believe, honestly. Yeah. It's crazy. I'm definitely one of those people. I was trying to suppress my estrogen extra just to look extra shredded for the videos, which is obviously not the best idea. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Do you remember that Kool-Aid commercial?
Oh yeah. Dude, I got another job.
That was fucking good, dude.
What am I doing? I need to go to like Hollywood and dude. I'm just gonna go to people and be like, hey, you know the Kool-Aid guy? Oh yeah.
What's the point of even having your brains anymore if you could just,
that's what I mean.
Be a voice actor?
That's what I'm saying, man. I mean, I don't know what it pays, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Multitask.
Watch them be paid like multiple hundreds and thousands a year.
I always
for just being a voice actor.
The Family Guy thing, right? Like that whole. You remember like how he busts through like the oh yeah guy? Have you ever seen the Family Guy episodes where he like busts through the wall and just randomly comes out?
Oh, the actual oh yeah guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like,
yeah.
Is that copyrighted or something?
Also, yeah.
Got it. Is that copyrighted? Like, can they just do that?
I don't know.
Right? That's like I don't know. I feel like somebody gets sued over that.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that they like trademarked it, or I don't know. I would assume they asked permission to be able to do that. But then again, Family Guy like makes references to absolutely everything possible.
Dude,
so,
I was just listening to a podcast with.
And sorry, you want to put this like
right here?
Yeah, as close to your mouth as possible because it's a condenser mic, which means like it could literally be this close, and that's what helps outside noise not be captured.
Makes sense.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
No, but there's the. I was listening to Joe Rogan, and they had Carrot Top on, and he was talking about how he was working with Family Guy on stuff. Okay. And they were talking about how it was just like crazy how you don't have to worry about any of the copyright stuff when you're a Family Guy. Like with them, he didn't care. Like, there was all this like debate on stuff, and it was like, no, we don't care. We can do it. Like, we'll just take care of it, and nobody cares about anything. Works out.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess that works.
Yeah.
But I think your job is a lot better. I personally think your job is pretty sick.
It is. I get to work with a lot of people who are suffering with a lot of different problems.
Yeah. So, guys, I feel super honored to have this guy here. He's taught me quite a bit. And this is the first person that I would ever love to go to whenever I have questions regarding literally anything HRT related, anything TRT related, anything for men's health and optimization, and honestly, even gear potentially. So,
yeah.
But this guy, Cameron, I don't know if you tell people your last name.
It's all right. Yeah, my name is Cameron Chapman.
Okay, Cameron Chapman. Gotcha. Yeah. And Cameron Chapman is the mad scientist at Transcend HRT.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of work to get to the point to where we can help people, and a lot of them at once, which is awesome because we've got multiple doctors at Transcend that can help. There's like a group of people that gets to help you get better with your life, make blood work better, and all these things. And that's what I love about Transcend is that we are happy to help you. We want you to get results. And it's important to us because when you get results, you're going to come back and go, dude, this is incredible. Like, it's changed my life. And that's what I get to hear all day long. I'm stoked.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, when you're like dealing with, people that haven't been able to get helped, like they go to their normal doctor, right? They're like, hey, I went to my doctor and nobody wants to help me. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, dude, I hear that all day long. And unfortunately, it's going to be the case for a while, I think, until we really get more of the information out. But you don't even have to go to your normal doctor now. That's the best part. Just telemedicine, jump on a phone call. Let's do some blood work. I mean, these things happen so fast. Mm-hmm. So that's why it makes me happy, because in this type of setting, I get to help more people further their lives. And I'm telling you, just helping people every single day that have spent so many years suffering or like not being able to get help. Like, it just gets to the point where I would much rather help people get to that point and spend my time and efforts to do that. Because again, if I can help more people out, like that to me is gratifying. That's what I want to do. I want to help people.
Well, we appreciate it, bro.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, first question. Thinking just like a generic question that I feel like a lot of men would want to ask, because I think the big question right now when it comes to this stuff is, should I jump on TRT? Or what does TRT have to offer me? Right. And there's so many different, there's so many different types of cases. And you have men ranging from like, later 50s to even guys in their 20s or early 20s asking about this.
Yeah.
So I had a question. Honestly, I think the best way to start this is literally what's in my head right now. There was actually a kid that came up to me who follows me on social media. He's been following me for a bit, and he came up to me like a couple hours ago at the booth. And this guy was a really, really cool kid. Honestly, super, super cool. And I really want the best for him. And to be honest, his concern, in my opinion, might actually be very valid. So he's 22 years old, right? But I asked him, okay, so you were wondering if you want to start TRT, like what's your testosterone level? He got his blood work done at another clinic. And his test level was, I think, like 360. 360. Yeah. So not the best.
Definitely not.
Bottom of the reference range,
right.
At least.
Right.
So that had me thinking like, wow, that's interesting. You're 22 years old, bottom of the reference range. That is definitely interesting. I know different guys respond to different levels of testosterone. So maybe that is actually an okay level for you. So how do you feel? I'm like, how do you feel every day? And he's like, I feel sluggish. I always feel sluggish. And I'm like, okay, you were telling me that you're bulking and you're eating 6 meals a day. So if you feel sluggish, I'm wondering, do you think this is because of your digestion and stuff? And then I proceeded to ask him, do you believe that, do you feel sluggish even when you're not digesting, even when you're in a fasted state, when you're feeling normal and stuff, you're not in rest and digest. Right. He said he always feels like that. Like he feels a little bit depressed. He always feels very, very slow. He feels like he has a hard time moving and getting up and doing things.
Drive, motivation, all that.
He tries to bulk. He tries to gain muscle and mass, but it's incredibly difficult for him. Sure. He's still eating those 6 meals a day. I asked him about the type of foods they eat, like if they eat processed foods, how clean they eat, how much sleep they get. He says he always gets at least 7 hours, normally 8 hours, sometimes 9. He's doing pretty well, I'd say.
That sounds like
anyone could do better than 7, but I think that's fucking great.
Right. No, I mean, we know that even going down to like, you obviously see bodybuilders out there all the time dieting down. They're still pushing. They still have the drive, right? And they're getting their calories down. But you're asking the right questions. What do we have? What's going on, right? You're asking anecdotal evidence. You're saying, how do you feel, right? Yeah. We're not looking always at numbers, and that's the thing, right? When we do blood work, it's letting us know what's going on. But I'm not going to say that whatever this gentleman's score was, 366 or whatever. I also have guys that come in at 366 and they might not complain of loss of drive, but they might have libido issues.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So I don't sit there and dive into how low their number is. I do exactly what you just said. I go, hey, what's your diet like? All these things, right? Let's figure out actually what the weakness is. And you're doing the exact right thing. But it sounds like in this guy's case that he certainly could benefit from it. And I would say if this is something that he's going to continue to do, I would optimize things a little bit more. Why not?
Right.
You want to feel better? You want to gain more muscle? You want to have more drive? I mean, it really does come along with that. And there are so many ways to be able to increase testosterone other than using testosterone.
Yeah.
And I think that's the other common misconception.
Right. That's what I want to jump into first, because I know there's a lot of men out there, a lot of the men that watch me. I'm sure a good majority of them are natural. A lot of guys even watch my PED stuff who are natural, but they're just interested in the science, which I absolutely respect. But the question is like, how can I optimize myself as a man and a human being? And then also, how can I do this without jumping on testosterone, without doing TRT, things like that?
Absolutely.
And then if all those factors, if we've already tried all that, is it time? Should I? You know, and what will it do for me? So I guess first question, in this situation. Oh wait, no. What was I going to ask? Also, before I forget, you can use this pillow. It might help you put your
I'm trying to
hand
like
up
figure out how to like
for like because I know
sit in
it's
this couch.
hard to like do this. Yeah.
Like the couch just falls and I like start going down.
What was I going to ask? I was going to ask something about okay, yeah. So, say that there's a guy just like that who's having those similar issues. What would you say is the first step that he should consider, or the first thing he should consider when starting to do?
Optimize.
Or starting to optimize his
Absolutely.
testosterone before jumping into TRT.
Absolutely.
What are the first steps that he could take?
Well, first of all, too, like when we do a blood panel through Transcend, we're looking at a lot more than just testosterone, right? So there's other things that can be factors of what anecdotally that you're having problems with. So if we talk about drive and all those things, there's other little things that we look at. So first step I would say would be let's get a full comprehensive panel through us. At that point, again, we're going to test for total testosterone. We're going to test for free testosterone or direct testosterone. These are really important because total testosterone you can have a very high score of total testosterone. You can have a total testosterone of, let's say, 900, right? But that's serum levels floating around your body, okay? So we are going to look at direct or free testosterone, okay? This number is going to show us what is binding to the androgen receptor in the body and actually being used for male characteristics, sex traits, muscle building, all of these things, okay? So for instance, with this gentleman that you're talking about, if he had a total test of, let's say, 350, like we were saying, somewhere around there, and his free test was 8, then definitely 8 is very low on free. So essentially what's happening is that your body is producing, lesser amounts of testosterone and then trying to utilize what it can, but it's just not happening. Okay. So what we can do is we can use different medications based off of your blood work, because sometimes with testosterone too, people don't understand there's different reasons why you can have low testosterone. Okay. So there's primary hypogonadal. Okay. So this is the first type of, people can have issues with. Essentially, sometimes people the testes don't work anymore, right? So legitimately your body cannot produce testosterone in the testes. Now, the other direction to go about it would be if we're looking at the signals between the brain and the testes, right? So the brain is always trying to pull or give away, or basically allow for more testosterone to be bound, okay? So what we can do then, in this gentleman's situation here, being that he's pretty young, right? There's a lot of things that he may not be concerned with at this point in life. The biggest one would be fertility, right? That's going to be the doctor's main concern at Transcend. And moving forward, again, like I said, most people aren't super concerned with having kids when they're younger, so they kind of give up all of the things that may affect it in the future. So for us, when we use these protocols for younger people, they are absolutely considered natural because, again, we're just increasing signals at this point now, right? So you don't have to hop on testosterone. I can use certain medications to increase the signals from your brain and tell your testes to produce more testosterone via that signal. Now, when you inject testosterone, you're injecting a synthetic derived medication. Yes, it's bioidentical, right? But it is synthetic. So when you inject testosterone, you're going to suppress your natural testosterone. And again, you're going to reduce things like fertility. It's not like a 100% thing it's going to happen. But again, it's a serious subject. So I just like to be able to explain to people that when you're younger, we have the ability to increase your testosterone and get things better and not even have to use testosterone. And we can get, God, dude, the numbers that I get from some of these people, man, it blows me away. For total testosterone and free test, we have a certain number that we shoot for at Transcend. And that's because we don't want to use a ton of other medications if we don't have to when it comes to ancillary medications for testosterone, like estrogen blockers and things like that. We don't want to use them. We don't have to.
Yeah.
Right. So I can't believe the numbers that are coming back for people. I mean, again, if people were taking this stuff naturally and coming in, I'd be blown away with how high their numbers are. I would think they were on synthetic testosterone. But again, I can look at the signals on that blood panel and I can go, dude, your LH and FSH rather are sky high. And that's how we are able to produce these natural testosterone levels. So that's, I mean, personally, I love it because it follows the natural rhythm of your body when we use these medications. With testosterone, you have a much higher curve, right? You've heard about, most people inject like testosterone at like twice weekly, right? To keep levels as even as possible when you're using like testosterone cypionate. Well, with like this endogenous protocol that we use with natural stuff, it's following your natural rhythm of your body. So your body is always kind of like releasing testosterone or producing testosterone naturally, right? So with some of these protocols that we have and increasing these signals, we can tell your body to do something like, hey, crank up testosterone production naturally. And that to me is the much better way to go about it because your body doesn't know the difference between synthetic testosterone and using our endogenous protocol. Testosterone is testosterone is testosterone. So if I get your numbers up to 1200 with test, or I get them up to 1200 with total, with the endogenous protocol, your body doesn't know the difference. So again, this is what I love is that we can help a lot of these people. And have you seen like some of these younger people coming in with numbers? I mean, dude, when I was doing this, like reading blood work, I've been doing this for about 15 years. When I was reading blood work like 10 years ago, it was completely different, dude. The numbers I'm seeing now. And that's the trip. Everything's
How so?
So much lower. So much lower. Like the average, let's just say, you get it in like a 23-year-old male, right? They come in the door, they express the same thing that you were talking about. I'm having this problem, having libido issues, whatever it is. We get they have everything in check other than maybe their hormones, right? Because that's what they're coming for.
Also, just prefacing this, I'm assuming, like we said earlier, we are assuming that everything is in check. Sleep, diet,
right.
What else? Like not eating processed foods. This kid actually said that they do try to avoid processed foods, but they could be better. I mean, then again, everyone could be better to a certain extent, right?
Yeah.
So at a certain point, you do have to start like just counting your cards and realizing what can you actually sustainably do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so assuming all of those, the other stuff are in check.
Yeah, and so when everything else is in check, it's like, well, then let's optimize everything. Let's get it better. But the point is that like these people have such low testosterone numbers coming in, and they have everything in check. And yeah, you can blame it on genetics, maybe, right? Some of these, especially the younger people, they haven't done blood work before. They don't know that they've been low, and so you can attribute it toward that. But I mean, really, it's just it blows me away with how many younger people coming in have issues. And that's why I love that we can help people still at younger ages, still get their testosterone up. And in fact, it actually, with this endogenous protocol that I'm referencing, it would increase your fertility actually. So, I mean, which is funny because I always talk to people.
Oh, are you talking about endogenous? Like, is this the whole enclomiphene and HCG protocol?
Yep, that would be it.
Okay, yeah, HCG, yeah, definitely increase the fertility, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, every time I do that, I'm like, I definitely have way more swimmers.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like, it's so funny that I have people hit me up all the time, and they'll be like, hey, man, like, do I need a PCT for this? And I'm like, this is your body producing it.
This is the PCT.
This is it, right? This is just the ultimate one. And so, yeah, I mean, like I said, that's what I would recommend for somebody at that age, for sure. I mean, I even have guys that are 35 to 40. Most everybody can benefit from this protocol. I mean, we can look at markers and see sometimes, like I was telling you, if it's primary hypogonadal and it's not the signals and it is like the testes that no longer can produce testosterone, that's a different story. We wouldn't be able to use something like an endogenous protocol because you can't produce testosterone. So in that situation, like, again, if you were younger and that was the case, and I see it actually often, it's kind of funny, and it's not funny, but the stories that kind of come along with it. I deal with soccer players, lacrosse players. The one I'm passionate about as well, which a lot of people, surprisingly enough, have come in with like testicular cancer. They're younger. And so for them, it's like, yeah, there are other means and other ways, and sometimes we have to use synthetic. right?
Yeah.
Stuff. But generally speaking, like with your question, like as somebody that age would benefit greatly. And then what's so cool about it, we do a 4-month protocol. Okay. If you do it and you feel fantastic, awesome, it worked. Great. But I'm not going to sit there and do blood work and then put it in your face and see like, look, the numbers are way better. No, I'm going to ask you, how do you feel? What's going on, man? How did the protocol work for you? Why would I ask the blood work how the blood work feels?
Mm-hmm.
That's what all the other doctors do. That's what doctors do. They read the blood work, tell you all the problems.
And they're like, oh, you're fine.
And then you're fine. Or let's give them an antidepressant. Let's give them an SSRI.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the direction of like what I feel as if Western medicine goes at this point.
Right.
And we're setting ourselves apart at Transcend to explain that this might not be a psychological problem.
Mm-hmm.
This might be something that was in your genetics. This might be something that your dad dealt with and he didn't talk to you about it. Right? And some people don't even know like their dads or they've been adopted or, I mean, there's so many different situations in which we don't have to worry about the unknown. Forget it. It's all factual now, man. You got blood work.
Right.
We can see exactly what's going on. We can ask you how you feel and we'll break it all down. That's what our team is like. We're exceptionally good at that.
Yeah.
We love breaking down. I love dealing with the details.
I love that, dude. Thank you.
Of course.
So just playing devil's advocate. Well, actually, no. Before that, crap. It was on the top of my head. Fuck it. I'll go back to it later.
It's a better question out there.
Anyways.
Come on.
But playing devil's advocate. So this protocol for HCG and clomiphene. Say that a young man decides to try this in order to help increase his testosterone. How long would you say this lasts? What is like the protocol? Do you have to take this regularly, or is this something where you can like take for a cycle and then it'll last you for a certain period of time until like a next point in time?
Yeah. So I mean, with that, we call it the endogenous protocol. So I think essentially what we're saying is, endogenous would be your body producing things. Exogenous would be you using synthetic testosterone, right? So I just want to make that clear. So when we reference endogenous, that's what we mean.
Right.
So the thing is with endogenous protocols, we're using a combination of FDA approved medications to create synergy to get these numbers. Okay. But again, we're stimulating the testes. And when we do this, the body isn't used to producing this high amount of testosterone for a long period of time. Because we're shooting for numbers, right? But with this endogenous protocol, we're actually letting your body decide how much it can produce. So we don't have as much control over things as we do synthetic testosterone. But when we get to...
Yeah, I feel like we have all the control with synthetic. It's
you
like
really
know
do.
Exactly how much...
Right.
Yeah.
So if you don't feel good or you
experimentation.
started feeling better with synthetic, but you don't really feel like it's done something, we can mess with dosing and we can adjust things until you feel better. But with the endogenous one, my recommendation to most people that I speak with, and our doctor's recommendation as well, would be that we can do about a 4-month protocol. So we start out with. We're going to do blood work, small panel, like in month 2 to 3, right around there. And we do the small panel in order to make sure that you do get a response. Okay. So if you didn't for whatever reason, then we would stop the process there and maybe change things up. Right. So we give it that 3 to 4 months. That's the protocol. It starts there. You can normally run that all into another 4 months. Okay. So you could do 8-month protocol. I've seen great results up to a year, but after about a year, just like anything else in your body tries to find homeostasis. Your body doesn't want to change all the time. It wants to just ebb and flow, right? So in that case, I would suggest, and so we don't have overstimulation of the testes, that you do give it a break. So I have some patients that'll do 4 months on, take a month off, start again. Do another 4 months, take a month off, start again. That's one way of going about it. If you wanted to do a year on and then take maybe a longer break, you could do that as well. But the endogenous protocol is not necessarily intended for a long-term solution. That would be the difference.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the cool thing is, this is my favorite part about the endogenous protocol, is that you can try it. You can see if you get the relief that you're looking for, which 99% of the time it works great. And then at that point, you can decide if this is for you. Because if we switch you over to like synthetic testosterone,
It's over.
that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be fun going the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
why don't you
yeah.
why don't you do it this way first? Ensure that you like this, right?
Right.
Because again, like we said, there's no difference between synthetic testosterone and this endogenous protocol. Testosterone is testosterone. So why don't we see if it works well for you first? And if you have, again, what are we talking about? Anecdotal evidence. I'm not sitting here saying, let's do blood panels and see, and let me show you your numbers are like the best, and then that's it. Like, no, I'm going to ask you how you're feeling. That's the whole, if you ask me, that's what I cannot stand about going to doctors. Do you have a doctor that really sits down with you? If you do, that's fantastic. I just haven't experienced that. That actually sits down and is able to break things down for you and explain things to you. That's what I want. I value that. So I would hope that other people would want that too. It just doesn't happen. It's almost expected that the doctor just comes in and like, oh, this is what you got to do. And what do? You just listen to him because it's a doctor, right? And I think we need to change that mentality, right? Take care of yourself. Like, what are you going to do to make your life better? Not what is the doctor just going to randomly tell me I'm going to do it.
Right. And not being biased, but honestly, I am a big supporter of the foundation for which RX sits on. Because, honestly, Western medicine has never been, it's always been symptomatic, preventing symptoms rather than actually treating what's there. And I do believe the best way to treat something is first proactive and preventative measures. But then again, once you've already done those proactive and preventative measures, so like what else do you have? And that's where I see RX coming in, is some honestly really effective ways to improve your quality of life without having to go through and induce a lot of the side effects that happen from a lot of Western medicine medications and stuff.
Absolutely.
Crazy addictions, opioid withdrawals.
Dude. Yeah, like you see these things that happen over time, right? And I get a kick out of this too. It's like my favorite topic to go look at is like FDA removals. What has the FDA approved and then been like, actually, you know what? Never mind. Right, let's pull that back. It's like, well, what happened? Why was this approved 20 years ago and that's not now? And you go actually and break it down and look at it, and it's like, well, 10,000 people died over the use of this, and it's like, well, how crazy is that? That like that can happen. That like, oh, this is FDA approved, this is fantastic, and then all of a sudden it's not. Well, why? Right? Well, there was problems. So that's what I'm saying. What I'm getting at is that there are side effects for these things. Okay, and so I love, like just like you, getting down to what actually is the problem. And again, we haven't had the availability to do these things, and it'd be so easy for people to do these things on their own accord.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is hit us up, get your blood panel done. I'm gonna read it for you as your wellness specialist. We're gonna send it off to the doctor. Doctor's gonna read it for you. You get everything. I'm gonna explain all of it to you. It takes 30 minutes. Everything that you've worried about, all the questions that you've had, all the, oh, I don't know, maybe I do have low T. Like, dude, blood work, consult call, questions answered. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't do it. I've had so many people come in that like, dude, I've been here 20 years trying to figure things out. They come to us. We're just educated in this area. We know what to look for. We know what combinations of medications to use. We can help people out like so fast. And I have people coming back to me constantly that are just so appreciative because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, right. No, that's actually one of the most fulfilling things feelings that I had after I joined Transcend. As I did have a few people literally come up to me and be like, "Bro, like you honestly changed my life. Like I joined Transcend and my life has literally been so different. Like I was like so originally scared to like start injecting myself or start taking testosterone, and I had a lot of anxiety like going in and taking that needle for the first time, but like now honestly like my quality of life is so much better. I literally feel so much better all the time. I feel like I can eat more food and I also have more energy at the same time. Just, yeah, a lot of
and that's what's so crazy too is like that, we're not, and the thing is too is like we're not using these like excessive amounts of things, and that's what's there is nothing better than helping somebody change their life. I've never found anything more gratifying in my life. Like I can go do something else, and I can go I mean, we've had talks about all kinds of different things and different experiences we've had and everything, and different opportunities that have come up. And it's like, you know what I really want to do is just help. I just want to help people change their lives, because it doesn't take that much effort for us, because we've helped do this for multiple people. And so I don't think people understand how quickly these things change.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I talk to people that are miserable all the time, and I get to hear their voices after 3 months. After we do a follow-up blood panel, they come back in. Dude, I can hear it in their voice. It is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Before they came in, it was like melancholic, right?
Right.
Just, meh. And then, dude, I hear life in their voice again. 3 months in. And I'm just saying it doesn't take 3 months. I'm just saying that's when we're doing blood work. You can see results on these things, especially that endogenous protocol, fast, man. Mm-hmm. 2-3 weeks, you're going to see huge changes in your mood.
Really?
Sleep, libido, everything. Test takes a little bit longer because synthetically derived. And
how much do you normally see the number change for test? I know it's different for symptoms and stuff, but like for the actual number itself, what would you say is the average number that you see like changing
for like the endogenous protocol?
Yeah.
So if somebody comes in and, like you just said, everybody responds a little bit different,
right? And it depends on how low they are,
right?
Assuming,
right. And two, we're looking at, like I said, those LH and FSH signals. So sometimes if your signals are like right in the middle, the response we're going to get might not be as drastic, right?
Gotcha.
So let's say like person, let's use that same example, 350 total tests, let's say 8 free tests. Again, the smaller number, free test is going to be the one we really concentrate on.
It's a very small number.
Yeah, small number. Don't want to be 8. 8 is not good. So when you get on the endogenous protocol, dude, in this protocol, we use another hormone called DHEA. Mm-hmm. Okay. DHEA is a hormone that's produced in the brain by the adrenals. Okay. So when we optimize this as well, again, it just compounds these numbers and makes them better. So our expertise is being able to use these 3 or 4 medications in certain dosages to be able to get this response. So I'm hitting with some people average. This is average around 1,000 to 1,200 on total.
No way,
dude. Easy.
Wait, from no way. Are you serious?
Yeah, dude, easy. And then this is what blows my mind. Free tests, I can get people average. We're talking again, average 25 to 30. Which again, we're shooting for around 1,000 for total, and about 25 if we're doing testosterone.
Holy
okay
shit!
So now, like I said, on average, I'm getting people come back 1,200 and anywhere 25 to 30.
Okay.
And then there's outliers, and those are the fun ones, right?
Yeah.
Because I have some guys that come in, and straight up they'll be like, again, they're miserable, depressed, I had no drive to get out of bed. I don't want to go to the gym. I used to want to go to the gym. I don't want to go to the gym now. Mm-hmm. What's wrong with me? What's going on? Is it low T? We do the endogenous protocol. I had a guy come back the other day. No joke, 38 on his free test. 38. And his total was like 1,600.
Whoa, dude.
Like we're talking like, I mean,
do you remember what his original?
Yeah, it was in the tank, dude. It was like maybe like 400.
400.
Maybe I think it was 10 was his free test.
Jesus.
But dude, this isn't like, what's so crazy? It's not like this happens every once in a while.
Yeah.
I do this all day long. I get to see these results. And then I get to be able to see if, again, talking with the patient, is this going to be worth it for you? How do you feel? What did you notice? What are the negative effects? If you had any negative effects. We're talking about every single detail and breaking this down. Not, oh man, you're doing great. Awesome. Hit me up later. Like, no, man, let's really break this down. Right? Do you understand? That's why I ask the patients all the time. Like, I'm not just here to talk to you about something random. No, I'm here to concentrate on you.
Right.
And there's not a lot of people that do that. Can sit down 30 minutes, concentrate on their protocol, ask for updates, make adjustments.
Truly care about what the other person's going through. Yeah, dude, that's my favorite part about Transcend actually right now, because literally everyone who asks me about Transcend, the main part is like, how much do they like respond? Do they actually respond? Do they help? If I have any questions, like, can I reach out? Like,
dude.
You know what I mean?
And that's what's so
people
cool.
want to learn. So
and we have especially with me too. Like, again, this is obviously we've talked about it a couple times, but it's all doctors are involved. There's doctor supervision, multiple doctors. you also get to work with a team of people who have professionally been bodybuilders, who have been diet coaches, training coaches for years. I mean, collectively, I'd love to go and talk to every wellness specialist and literally like put down how many years of collective work we've done, because every single one of us is detailed oriented. Every single one of us want to change people's lives. Every single one of us have the ability to use the information that we've learned over years and years and years of either research or working with patients or training or prepping people for shows. And you get it. You get the expertise. And it doesn't happen. We have people that come to me all the time from other HRT clinics because we get a lot of people unhappy with other places that they're at. And it's amazing to hear these people's responses, like from either the protocols that they've done from other clinics that didn't get results, and they're like, I don't want to do it if it's going to be what I did with this other clinic, right? But we just have people coming to us constantly, and that's repeated often. It's like, dude, I signed up, I did blood work, I spent like $1,200 on blood work. That's the other like pet peeve I have, man. Why are you gonna charge a patient? These HRT clinics out there with like thousands and thousands of dollars of the blood work up front. You don't even know there's not even a problem yet. You don't even know what to look at. Like, you don't know what direction to go.
Wait, so for Transcend, what is the charge, or how do you guys do it?
$199, man. $199 to do blood work. So we just send you to a local LabCorp or Quest Diagnostics in your area. And they're everywhere. I mean, it's very, LabCorp especially is pretty densely populated, but we just send you to one of those, and then in about 5 days, we'll get the results back. But hey, look, if we run into a thyroid problem, right? We're doing a comprehensive panel up front, but we're looking like, I'm just using thyroid as an example. We're looking for TSH, T3, T4. Okay. If we find a problem and there's some inconsistencies, then we dive deeper. Why am I going to dive super deep into something and have you invest into something that you may not necessarily need? And so I have constantly people come to me, dude, I spent $2,000 on blood work. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like that's a huge investment up front. And to me, like I said, it's like, you may not need to dive that deep yet. Okay?
Is that common? How common is that to spend that much? Is there like an average that you've seen for people to pay?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of clinics out there that, they're unique in what they do, or that's what they're stating. Okay. So they would tell you that, essentially what I think is happening is that they're trying to do as much blood work as possible to find as many problems as possible so they can sell you as many products as possible.
Gotcha.
And again, that's what we don't want at Transcend. Yeah,
Right.
Look, we can help you with tons of different things if you want.
Right.
But I'm not going to sit there and throw
push
some
them.
outrageous stuff at you and try to push it at you. Like we've talked how many times? Less is more.
Yeah.
Start with one thing, see how
Less
that
is
goes
more.
for a while. Start with another thing, see how that goes for a while.
Absolutely.
Not here's 30 different things that we sold you to make you Superman all of a sudden. It's like, no, let's take a methodical approach to this.
Okay.
Scientific approach to it. Right?
Right.
One item in, give it 3 weeks, see how it is, everything's good, next item,
Okay.
next medication.
I do feel that. Real quick, just so I can cover all the, again, devil's advocate. There's a couple people out there that have said this, but they say this about like a lot of different clinics. But Transcend will, for example, list out all the options for medications that they would suggest to someone based off of their blood work. Sometimes though, I've gone like, it's very, very, very uncommon, but there was one guy who was like, oh, Transcend listed all of these medications for me, like all of these, and so now that guy was like I feel like maybe they're just trying to sell me stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you?
We allow the patient to be able to make a lot of these decisions. Okay. So we put the power into your hands to make the decisions, but we're going to guide your path in the way that we think that you should go. Okay. So most of the time what happens is the doctor is going to he's going to provide an approval for the things that you can use. Okay. And then the doctor is going to put together a protocol with the wellness specialist like myself, and we're going to come up with a program that works best for you. Okay. So there are other patients out there, because we can make multiple protocols, right? The doctor's going to come and say, I think a GH peptide would work great for you. Okay. Well, there's tons of GH peptides out there.
Right.
Okay. So like with my patients, for instance, I want them to know there are options out there.
Yeah.
So it can sometimes get misconstrued in that when I send you a list of things, this is because you don't have to you don't have to do any of this. I'm sending you a list because I want you to have, like, if there was something that you wanted, maybe, I don't know, maybe you've been researching testosterone for a year and that's the one you want to go with. Well, again, I'm going to give you all of the GH peptide options out there because each one is unique in its own and it will work a certain way, but all the prices are different for these things. So we don't want to sit there and send you an invoice and go, this is what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, everybody's a little different, right? But that's what we want to do, is we want to create that trust.
Because honestly, in the end, like when you do go to the doctor, they just prescribe you something.
Right.
Like you take this.
Did they ask you?
This. Sorry?
Did they, like when you go to the doctor, do they ask you, is this
Yeah,
something that you think you want
Normally
to do?
they don't.
No.
A lot of the times, and I would say more often than not, they don't.
Yeah.
Normally it's just you need this inhaler or like this medication.
Mm-hmm.
Or honestly, they don't even like say they just prescribe it to you and they're just like, buy this, get this from your pharmacy.
Yeah. Well, and then too, you don't have the ability to go back and forth really too much with doctors.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking like doctors, your normal doctor, family doctor, right? And so that's what I want from patients. I want to go back and forth. I want to hear your opinion on things, right? And we have that more of a friendly relationship, right? Because I want the best for you. And I'm explaining this is why we have these suggestions. So I just want people to know that, like, that's not the intention, right? Is to send you a bunch of medications to say, here, buy all this. No. We're just giving you options just in case. Because you can tell me straight up, no, Cam, you just tell me what you think or the doctor thinks I should do. Just tell me what your feelings are on this. Because that's kind of what I would do, especially with the expertise that's at Transcend. That's the direction I would go. Because we've produced all kinds of results with people. And so that's the direction I would go, is that let us use our expertise into getting you where you want to be. It's a lot easier to take somebody's advice on these things, right? Who have been doing this for years on end and applying these things in practicality, right? I'm going to use this with this patient. And even like with myself, a lot of the things that I do and a lot of the things that I help people with, we can switch things up. There's different ways of doing things. So I'm not necessarily saying that my way is the only way or the doctor's way is the only way to do things. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying I've just done this a lot, probably more than a lot of people have. And most of the time, I think what happens is people hear my confidence on the phone too. Because you got to remember, most of the time, this isn't like one-to-one. I'm not in front of you. We're not chatting like face-to-face. Mm-hmm. This is a phone call. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to build that relationship with that patient because I want them to succeed. And hopefully I gain your trust by that. And we can work together. And that's what we want. We want a long-term patient. I don't want somebody coming in who just wants a couple medications. Like, no. I need devotion from you too. Right? So I'm asking for people to be more committed most of the time. Mm-hmm. Not because we get people also that are like, you don't hear from her again. I feel bad for them. You wasted a ton of time, man. Did blood work, set up a protocol, and then just never hear back. Then, like, randomly, you'll get somebody come back like a year later. They're like, hey, man, like, what happened? What did you do? Or what happened? Did the protocol work or whatever? Well, no, like, there'll be an excuse or something like that. Or they'll have an injury or something. Like, why didn't you hit me up? That's what I'm here to help you with. Mm-hmm. Why didn't you tell me the protocol was... we probably could have made things better for you or save you some problems that you had. Right. But what I'm getting at is that ask us our expertise. Ask us what you've been thinking for the last 6 months. How often do we go back and forth? Yeah. Well, we just talk and talk and talk. And we end up coming to a conclusion on things, but it's organic, right? Yep. It's not sitting there and like telling you, I know this and this is how it's going to be. It's like, no, man, let's go back and forth. And what have you heard? Or what's happened with you? Because I'll tell you what I've done. Right. Right. So that's the type of back and forth that we're going to have. And that's what I appreciate. And I would hope others would appreciate that too.
Yeah, it's definitely appreciated, bro.
Oh, okay, good.
It definitely is.
No.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Good to know. So, moving on. So, okay, so HCG and clomiphene. And you said before, like, normally you see, the average that you see is like 4 months on, and then maybe they'd be off again for another 4 months and like ride that wave.
Maybe not be off for 4 months. So maybe do 4 months on, take a month off. Right. But you have to understand too, here, real quick, side note, with the endogenous protocol, it's not like you stop taking it and all of a sudden your test just goes down to 0.
Right.
Like, again, we got to remember, this isn't synthetic. Your body's producing this.
Right.
So when you discontinue these medications, your body's going to slowly downregulate these processes. Okay. A beautiful thing about this, it just slowly goes back down. Honestly, probably most of the time what I see is a little bit better, even when they stop taking the medications, than what they had previously, baseline. And reason being, when you're working with these medications, we're working through what we call the HPTA axis, which is going to be, again, how much of these things your body is naturally producing these things and the ability to have this signal between the brain and the testes. So when you revamp this, when you use these medications over whatever, a year, 4 months, whatever you decide or whatever works best, it's upregulated that effect, that process. And so now your baseline is probably a little bit higher. But typically speaking, I see free tests that stays, average 3 to 4, 5 points higher, which, for going from 15 to 19 on a free test and not being on anything, that's great. Right?
Yep.
Doesn't always happen, but majority of the time it does.
Right.
So yeah, I would say, like, for me, that's what I would recommend. Most of like doctors, that's what they're going to recommend as well. Is like, the endogenous protocol is meant for you to feel what it is to have these levels. And then again, if we need to have more of a long-term solution to it, then we can discuss those things from there.
Because in the end, like this is assuming that everyone has done absolutely everything that they could to improve their natural testosterone through lifestyle, right? Through health, through wellness. Now, assuming that is all taken care of and you are doing the very best you can. So some people will try to resort to things like test boosters and stuff.
Yeah.
So what are your opinion on test boosters? How much have you seen testosterone increase from that? I know there's mixed reviews out there.
My mind is
mixed
going.
research.
Yeah, dude. There's so many things to talk about there, right?
I know that I have seen some anecdotal evidence of some test boosters helping to a small extent. Definitely nowhere close to the numbers you gave me in regards to the actual the endogenous protocol. But yeah, your opinions.
Yeah, so another topic we can probably talk about at one point is SARMs. This is because people come in with SARMs constantly.
Right.
And then ask us if we sell SARMs or prescribe SARMs. And the answer is no, just first of all. Okay.
Also, MK677 is not a SARM.
Yeah. Could spend 30 minutes on that, but I won't. So yeah, that's thrown in the SARM category often, and it's certainly not. It's not a selective androgen receptor modulator. So I digress there. But when it comes to things like test boosters, especially if they're using, there's so many different formulations out there. People use crazy stuff, ashwagandha, to increase free tests. Sure, I guess these things in its efficacy will show that maybe it'll go up a little bit.
Yeah, it will go up a little bit.
And I have seen it.
Sure. Yeah,
I have seen it.
I've seen it
Fenugreek,
as well.
right? Fenugreek's a pretty good one to natural stuff. But again, it's just like what you said. Yeah, if you're at 100 on total test, yeah, dude, it'd probably go up to 300. What's 300 for you? What's 300 going to do that 100 didn't?
Right.
So yeah, you get a 65-year-old male who comes in. He's used to having crappy testosterone, right? When you have low testosterone for 20 years, you're going to get used to it. And this is just life.
Right.
It doesn't have to be, but that's what you're going to do. And so those type of people may benefit a little bit from it. But I see more people have elevated AST and ALT liver enzymes from using
from those. Yeah, no.
from using that stuff. And then proprietary blends and all these different things, right? You really don't know what's in these things.
Do you not see those elevated enzymes from enclomiphene or from the endogenous?
Not at all.
No?
Not at all. Nothing's methylated, alkylated, nothing.
Wow.
So
okay.
these medications won't affect liver enzymes more.
Wow. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, and some of these things too. Some of these medications are unique, and they break down in the kidneys rather than the liver. So I mean, each medication is unique, but specifically that endogenous protocol. No, man, it's good.
Okay.
No AST problems, no liver issues.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
And same with say that someone was just doing TRT. What differences, if any, do you see on like your liver enzymes, your organs in general?
Yeah. So probably.
I mean, I feel like this is more related to the fact that testosterone is just rising in general.
Yeah. Well, right, because other processes happen in the body and all these
Right.
things. Yeah. Sure. Well, we have to remember that testosterone's not like you just don't inject it and everything's perfect all of a sudden, right? That'd be great if that was the case, but it's just not. You have to adjust things, and maybe perhaps you convert more to estrogen, and we have to use something different.
Yeah.
So, like I said, there's unique situations
Everyone is very different.
that occur, but I think that a lot of people, like I said, with test boosters and SARMs and all these things, they're looking for a way to control these things by themselves. Would you agree? Right? I mean, I ask people often, like, why did you do this? I'm just curious. But it's never on their own accord. It's, oh, well, my buddy told me this, or I watched a YouTube video and a guy was telling me he was on these SARMs. Well, that guy's not you, right? And then you're getting these things from places that God knows what they are.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean,
Gonna be.
there's so many different directions to go with these things. And yeah, sure, there's like, I know that there's supplement manufacturers out there that make test boosters, right? And yes, there are some that are better than others. However, what are you going to do? Spend $80 on a 30-day supply? 30 days isn't going to do anything. I almost guarantee it. Okay? Now, okay, well, let's do 60 days. Well, okay, now you're $160. You may feel, this is what supplement manufacturers do. Something like fenugreek is a great example. Fenugreek is great at increasing sexual drive or libido. Okay? So if I put that ingredient in a proprietary blend of all these other ingredients, but I'm going to leave it proprietary because I don't want other people to know my secrets. That's what a lot of these supplement companies do. So now we're $160 into something. It's not going to work that long, if not at all, and it's going to increase your libido so you think it works. Dude, my libido increased. Dude, my test has got to be up.
I see.
I mean, these are methods that people have used often, man.
Right. Yeah.
To get people to buy that product, and it's like, how many blood panels do you want me to show you? Real world
Right.
evidence
It's
of
like,
these things
if
happening.
you feel like it's working.
Right. This is proven science that these medications, you go look them up. These are FDA approved medications for fertility or for, it's not like we're using our blend of things.
Right. Right.
No,
Right.
man.
Right.
These medications are just used in a certain sequence to create
Yeah.
a cascade of events that creates an increase in testosterone.
That is very understandable. Like, I am sure that some testosterone boosters work out there to a small extent, but I have seen a lot of ones that have extra blends that will increase your symptoms of higher testosterone, but not necessarily your actual testosterone itself or the gains that you get from
Right.
from what you'd expect from higher testosterone. But
Oh, and I'll say this too, just like almost blanket statement. Like most of the time, like, again, we just talked about $160 you just spent. How much is a blood panel? $199. So I mean, it's like $199, and then you really can get the facts. And then you don't have to go, well, I wonder if this test booster is working.
right. Yeah.
No, you don't have to wonder.
At least you can. Yeah.
We can make things factual here.
Right.
Why don't you want to make things factual? And this is science. So again, it's not like we're the first people to do this. We just know how to do it better than other people do.
Right.
And again, we have our own R&D department. There's so many different things that we have that, we don't sit there and advertise all these things because again, we're producing at Transcend the end result, Like again, the blood panels are the proof, but I mean, we're making people's blood work better. They're happier. They're getting more whatever they were looking for, whether it's libido, muscle recovery, sleep, mental drive. We have neuropeptides. I mean, there's so many different directions we can go. So, rolling back to somebody who's spending money on all these different things to try to fix something that they think they have, why don't you get it just figured out? Why don't you just figure it out for real? And I hate wasting time. I don't know about you. Wasting time is my biggest pet peeve. I don't have it to waste. So again, I'm going to go get the facts. I'm going to go get my blood work done.
Okay. Yeah. So let's compare. Okay. So test boosters, price and results to say you want to do the endogenous treatment
Protocol.
Right. So what is like, would you say the price difference, and then what kind of results do you get from those? I mean, I know, you know, all these boosters are different, but just assuming, because like say you have a great test booster or something that I wanted to name one just now, but I realize I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, I'm not.
And you would you say it's viable that like best case scenario maybe your testosterone increased by like 200, 150?
Yeah, I would say that's best case scenario. I mean, I wouldn't even know somebody was on it. That's how insignificant the gains would be. On paper, we're not even talking anecdotally. We're not talking about your strength going up. We're not talking about actual physical evidence. We're talking about you feeling something. So when it comes down to that, let's say test booster, let's just use that $160 for 2 months. I don't know. Let's just use that figure. The base protocol for the endogenous stuff's around $800 for 4 months. Okay. The difference is going to be
$800 for 4 months.
right for the endogenous protocol.
Huh. Okay.
Okay. We're using medications that are pretty unique, designed to do something that's very specific. Some of these medications we're using have been on the market only like 5 years, 6 years. And again, all the evidence shows that they are efficacious, but they cost maybe a little bit more. Okay. The endogenous protocol in general does cost slightly more than TRT. But again, you have the option of, I don't have to do this for the rest of my life, or yeah, I do want to do this. Right. So you have the ability to go
experiment with this first before
Yes.
you jump on TRT.
So my theory on this would be, why would you invest? This is just how I feel or how my mind works. But why would you invest $200 into something that you may feel like it's doing something, but nobody's proving it to you? I would take that $200 and invest it into something that factually works. You get, okay, so let's just compare. Let's just use the $800 figure. $800 gonna get you 4 months, but you know it works. You have people that are helping you the entire time. You have people that are guiding you through this process. It's not all about medications, right? So I can help you make this better for you. I can help these results be more finite. I can help these things be more efficient. That's what Transcend's here to do. So you're getting product, sure, but are you getting somebody that's happy to guarantee almost those results? Like, that just doesn't happen. And so I'm going to go, me personally, with the way I am, I'm going to go with those results that I know I'm going to get.
Right.
I'm not going to waste my money on stupid junk that I'm not confident in.
Right. So let's I want to compare the numbers, so people have an idea, and let's try to be as transparent as possible about this. But so test boosters, I've looked through some research. Obviously, there's a lot of missing research and shit, and like a good 25% of test boosters have shown not to have any results whatsoever, or most of them tend to be symptomatic results, right? Like, oh, I feel stronger, or I feel more sex drive, right? I'm seeing some have had some results show increased testosterone level by 17.7% in a group of 75 adults. And then I'm seeing some stuff where maybe potentially it could even increase up to 40%. Obviously, I'm sure that those are outliers. I'm sure the average is probably around maybe 25 or something around there. Say just, hypothetically. And I would expect that the percentage increase of a test booster increases less the higher your test would be.
Absolutely.
Right? So you should technically see more. You would normally feel like you'd see more difference if you're at a lower testosterone level.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so 300 to say it increased by a third to 400, right? You're paying like maybe $40 to $80 per month, right? Where you take the endogenous for Transcend, and what is like an average number increase? I know you said some big numbers earlier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I'm freaking shocked by. You know, I've never done this protocol, so
Right.
that's pretty surprising to me.
Yeah,
But what like genuinely average numbers? How much? If say like your average 300 came to you, what would you say the average number you see is?
Yeah.
The final number.
On a daily basis, I'm getting people's numbers over 1,000
Jesus,
on a daily basis. So I'm going to tell you.
that's so hard to believe. Honestly,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Well, dude, this is what's so crazy. When I work at Transcend, all of these labs get sent to us digitally, right?
Yeah.
So I get, let's say, if I get 10 labs back in a day, I literally get to stare at all of these people who had all these terrible values. And then to me, I'm used to it because it happens all day long, right? So at first, I've used this protocol for a while. I've known of this protocol for a while. I've done research, and it's something that I've been around for a long time. So again, when working with Transcend, the volume increased, the amount of people that I got to help increased, and I got to see these values come through so often. Like I said, it had 10 a day maybe, So it's not as shocking to me as it used to be, right? And dude, it's really fun to just have people see those results.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, but
I mean, it makes sense why people will like come up to us and be like, "Yo, you changed my life."
Yeah.
Shit, just for that. It's pretty cool.
Well, and dude, here's what's so crazy too. I was gonna say just real quick, like you if you're younger too, the average, we're gonna shoot for a pretty high number because we're trying to make a difference in your life. We're trying to make sure that we insurance results and that kind of thing. So, like I said, let's just use a 21 years old. 21-year-old male, yeah, you can go down and look at the average numbers. Even LabCorp will like say on the far right, right? Oh, 18 to 19, it should be this. 19 to 20, it should be this. I don't know why LabCorp's telling us what it should be because, again, everybody is different. But, a 21-year-old that comes in that's not taking anything. I've seen some guys come in at like natural 700 to 800. I would say outliers can come in at like around, 20 on free tests. Some of these younger guys, especially, that are still, maybe late bloomers, going through puberty a little bit later, right? They may have a little bit higher testosterone, but we're still getting that number significantly higher than what that average 21-year-old is getting.
Yeah, yeah, that is way significantly higher, especially at this day and age.
Right. So not only are we getting you back to being healthy and where you should be, we're getting you a little bit better.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I would just say that, yeah, average speaking, over 1,000 for sure. Free test, maybe like 25, I would say is a good number. I would stick at that would say like, that's pretty common and not outlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're talking about this because there are a lot of people that, I don't know, there's always going to be, there's always going to be hitters. There's definitely people who probably are like very, I've heard from like, even from like TikTok and all these things, like, oh, like if you're on HCG and then clomiphene, then it's not natty. Well, I mean, at the same time, when you're taking a lot of these other supplements, like test boosters, and honestly,
Dude,
in the end, like, it's like saying cocaine is like
natural.
natty. Yeah,
right.
No, exactly.
It's like you got to the reverse. Yeah.
I mean, these things are.
They're natural. It's just this is the problem that people have is people want to pick things apart. That's the problem. Why don't we concentrate on what's helping you?
Yeah.
Feeling better. Why do you care if you have like this perception?
No, exactly. I mean, the fact of the matter is that what you're doing is like you're using something to boost your natural test.
Yeah.
I mean, same way that people take test boosters. So whatever people believe, if you don't want to take it for that reason, that's your moral choice, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. So for so protocol, so we're we're paying on average, let's say like $200 per month for this, which boosts say 300 up to like maybe 800 to 1,000. Whereas a test booster, you could be doing 40 to 80, where you could be boosting your 300 from anywhere from probably like 0 to 500, maybe even like 0 to 500.
Yeah, and you may feel that, but again, I can almost guarantee you that you will not see an increase in recovery, an increase in strength. And if you do, the mind is extremely powerful. Placebo effect is huge. Okay? That almost tells you that if you, from my research, from my reading blood panels for 15 years, reading thousands of people's blood panels, I've never seen anybody benefit from using test boosters in the gym with gaining muscle.
Yeah.
I mean, just...
No, yeah. I mean, I could attest to that as well.
So again, why waste your money?
Right. Okay. So let's move on to, there's so many other topics that I want to cover.
Let's do it.
So let's move on to people who are actually taking tests, TRT. What should people stay cautious about? And if someone does want to jump on TRT, how do I phrase this? How do I phrase this in a way that's like, let's just start with like, someone wants to do TRT. What should they be concerned about, or what should they be cautious about? The first thing that for me that comes to mind is simply being conscious of your fertility. You know, making sure that you probably want to do like an HCG cycle here and there in order to maintain your fertility in the long run.
Absolutely.
Right. And then, is there anything else that people should know or be aware of before deciding to start TRT?
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is a commitment. I think that's the biggest thing. That's what I run across often, is that people go, okay, so when I'm done with this, do I take a PCT? Wait, why are you're not supposed to be done with this. You have low testosterone. Like you're not ever going to have higher testosterone. So you just told me that you're not okay with the way that you feel and all the things that are happening. So
yeah, you have to understand.
You have to understand.
It's not a temporary measure.
Yeah, you're not going to do this for 4 months and then hop off. I hear crazy things. I hear people that want to, hey, I got a wedding that I got to look good in. So can I just do the test for like 6 months and then hop off? Like, that sounds horrible. That sounds like a bad idea, right?
You got a wedding.
I hear all kinds of things. So I would just make sure that whomever is trying to look into this, just understand that we take this extremely seriously, right? This is something that is a commitment. This is something you have to do for a long period of time. If you don't have those capabilities, you don't have the time invested into doing these things, right? It takes some effort. And some people legitimately don't want to give, 10 minutes to doing an injection, right? Yet they feel so much better. So, I mean, there's all kinds of people that don't understand.
Honestly, I feel like you even overshot at 10 minutes. I feel like I'd never take even close to that.
I'm trying to be as like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
10 minutes is ridiculous. I don't take 10 minutes. I'm trying to make it sound bad. So it's like, know that this is not a temporary thing. And again, we're talking about testosterone here because the endogenous protocol is a temporary thing for you. Which that's a perfect example. You could definitely do that, right? Like, say a wedding was coming up or whatever reason that you wanted to use it. Then yeah, you could definitely do it. But with that, I would say the testosterone commitment. I would say the other huge topic that comes up often is people going, okay, where's my estrogen blocker? Like it's supposed to just come in a kit, right? Like you definitely are going to have estrogen issues. No, the worst situation, the worst thing I've ever seen, and this happens, seen it all the time, is pharmacies compounding anastrozole in their testosterone. So it's like 200 milligrams of testosterone cypionate, 1 milligram of Arimidex. So you're telling me that every single person should take that? That's stupid. That's not how that works. Not everybody converts to estrogen. as significantly as somebody else, right? There are estrogen dominant people, or let's just say people who typically tend to be a little bit more overweight, that they tend to have a little bit more estrogen. They might have an issue with estrogen, right? But it's not a guarantee.
So you see people that are more overweight tend to have more estrogen more common than not.
Generally speaking,
Okay.
I see that. And I'm saying severely overweight.
Okay, gotcha.
So just because you're overweight doesn't mean you can't take testosterone. So we're going to help you. You know, if you have a testosterone that's super low, maybe that's why you're overweight. Maybe you don't have drive to go to the gym. Maybe you don't want to do this anymore.
Yep.
Okay. So we're going to help you. But again, I'm going to make it known to you that, like, hey, here's the deal. Like, on your labs, your estrogen came up still within range, but we're getting to the top here of what the reference range is for estrogen. So being that we know that, if I start putting you, if the doctor puts you on TRT, well, you probably are going to have a higher rate of conversion to estrogen. Okay, so in that situation, uniquely, the doctor would likely prescribe testosterone. I mean, Arimidex, or anastrozole rather. Now, I have people, again, pretty often come in. They'll start a TRT protocol, and we'll do their blood work. And I'm actually one of those people that I don't aromatize the estrogen very much. And in fact, for me and the doctor, we're looking for numbers that are a little bit more elevated on a blood panel. Okay, I know you're aware of the positive effects of what estrogen promotes, right?
Yep,
There's
absolutely.
all kinds of things, but joint pain is probably the biggest one. But like libido increase.
Joint pain, that estrogen, high estrogen.
Well, it helps it.
It helps joint pain. Yeah.
So estrogen
absolutely
promotes synovial fluid in the joint. So there's so many different things that estrogen actually helps with. So why are we sitting here and killing it the whole time? And I don't understand, why is somebody being a compounded test, like I was telling you, why does it have a milligram of Arimidex in it? They may not even need it. So then now you have a host of other side effects that are happening with taking Arimidex. Now maybe maybe you're not one of those people that had an estrogen problem and it lowered your estrogen too much. Now you just created a whole host of other problems. So now you went on testosterone. You think you need an estrogen blocker. You started taking it. Now you lowered your estrogen way too much, because an anastrozole is a very powerful drug. So now you lowered your estrogen so much that now you have joint problems. Now your libido isn't what it was. And now you just came to us and wanted to fix this.
You don't feel things, dry skin.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, estrogen is not the devil, I promise.
Very bad for your longevity to have low estrogen.
Right. Estrogen also, here's another one. I heard it when I was growing up and when I was competing, and people would tell me like, hey, don't kill your estrogen. It'll actually kill your gains.
Yep.
But nobody ever explained it to me. Why? Why is that the case? And because it was not really a topic that was sat on and talked and discussed about, I had to go figure it out on my own, research it. And essentially what we have found is that most people that either bottom out their estrogen or lower it way too much, you watch their IGF-1 levels start coming down.
Yeah.
And then the reverse.
I'm definitely one of those people.
Yeah.
Back when I was suppressing my estrogen.
Gotcha.
I remember we were seeing that in my
Yes,
labs.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I was trying to suppress my estrogen extra just to look extra shredded for the videos, which is obviously not the best idea. Like, yes, temporarily you will look leaner, and that's why people do that for the competition for the stage, but they only do that for like peak week, you know, or the last couple weeks max.
Right. You know? And for us, we're looking for, again, we're talking about TRT here, right? We're using dosages that, again, are for a long period of time. We're using the most amount to give you the most relief, but not have to burden you with other ancillary medications, like Arimidex.
Right.
And there are so many people that come to us that the doctor takes them off. Like from another HRT clinic, they'll come to us. They're not feeling good. They don't know why. They spend all this money in another HRT clinic. Then they come to us and go, what's wrong with me? Why this other place won't help me? I don't know what to do. Well, we easily can help them. We fix it. But what we find is most of the time, they're either on way too much of an estrogen blocker, the wrong estrogen blocker, or the ratios of estrogen to testosterone are just absolutely destroying your blood work. And then there's other things too, like Arimidex is going to destroy HDL cholesterol. HDL cholesterol is not easy to regain or increase. right? LDL, bad cholesterol, we can work with that. If you have high levels of LDL, we can lower saturated fats. We can do all these things.
Do some extra cardio.
Exactly. Not HDL,
Well,
man. HDL, yeah, I can't go eat 20 avocados and a pound of almonds and watch that go up. Yeah, it may help. It may promote the increase of HDL cholesterol, but it's not like some magic number. So HDL is very, very, like most guys have lower levels of HDL than women do. A lot of that is due to estrogen. But it's a perfect example of Arimidex will lower your estrogen most of the time too much, if not dosed accurately, and it's going to lower your HDL cholesterol. And then now if we have an issue with your HDL cholesterol and your LDL being out of ratio, well, now we create another problem. So now you have cardiovascular issue. And if you have a history of stroke, heart attack, these kind of things, like these are serious things. But you just bought this medication from that HRT clinic who compounded it with Arimidex that told you to use it, and you don't need it. So this is why coming through us, we're not going to haphazardly use medications that don't have efficacy or aren't needed to create a protocol for you. We're not trying to sell you a bunch of meds that aren't needed. Mm-hmm. Again, it's a scientific approach.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, cutting time a little bit short, so I'm going to jump to all the different kind of topics that I want to talk about.
Let's do it.
There's a lot, and we had some people ask some questions as well, so it'll be cool to get some of these answered. Mm-hmm. One of them is something that I'm also interested in hearing from you, and then I have my own knowledge on the subject, and I'm always looking to expand that. So glad that I get to ask you this. But Carlos asks, what are the best supplements to maximize health whilst on TRT?
Yeah, so like maybe ancillary medications that not necessarily are used to help mitigate other issues, but help enhance what's already done with testosterone. I would say one of the easiest things to put into a protocol is to optimize DHEA levels. Okay, DHEA will increase free testosterone, and again bind harder to the androgen receptor, so we can make that free test go up. And what you'll see your total test come down. So say you were at 1,000 and 25. Let's just use easy numbers. 25 for free test. If I throw in DHEA and they have a low DHEA number of, let's say the range is like, we shoot for around 500 for DHEA, another hormone. I can get that person's free test up to go 29, 30 almost, and you'll watch their total go down. And so what's happening is your body is more efficient at being able to bind this testosterone floating around, so that it is actually being utilized by the body for what we're intending it to be used for. So you literally can just take one pill a day. And for the record, I do not advocate for over-the-counter DHEA medications. Never. I've seen so many blood panels screwed up by people going to Vitamin Shop and getting DHEA. Horrible, dude.
Oh, shit.
Dude, side effect ridden. I mean, all kinds of problems. And we always tell them, like, you got to discontinue everything that you're doing. And the rebuttal most of the time is, well, it's an over-the-counter thing. I just got a Vitamin Shop. It's not that big of a deal. Oh, it's a big deal, man. And so when we're talking about these things, I'm talking about compounding medications that we use, okay, specifically. So that's definitely one to throw in there, right? But I would ask Carlos, like, well, Carlos, what are your goals, man? What do you want to do? Why do you need your testosterone numbers up more? Or what are you asking for these ancillary medications? Are you not feeling good? Is there something wrong? What are these ancillary medications that you're looking for? What are they going to do? Or what are you looking for them to do?
I mean, like, if you're healthy, then why add anything? You know, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
So again, we're asking about why do you want this? That is much more important.
Right.
Because I might have information that can change things up.
So I think one thing that I don't know if this is what he's asking, but what I have in my mind is that I was talking on my story a little bit about ancillaries I take for bodybuilding, not just for TRT, but like say that I'm honestly running a cycle for like a bodybuilding competition and stuff. There are ancillaries that I take, not to maximize my health, but for proactive measures to protect my organs, for example.
Sure.
And the things for me that come to mind are things like, citrus bergamot and astragalus root, right? Yeah.
So those are great ones. I would say we have a lot of support medications as well that we have. What's cool about our pharmacies too is that you can get compounded medications with like natural things. So like we have a cholesterol support is one of the ones that we use a lot. I have, because I picked the wrong parents, jokingly, I have bad cholesterol issues, just genetically. I can't help it. Okay. And mine is a lowering of HDL and an increase in LDL. So no matter what I change in my diet or what I do, I can't get those things up or down. So I've used cholesterol support, and it's again a natural medication, and it helps lower those LDL numbers, help increase HDL numbers, and bring that total cholesterol down. Okay, when you start on TRT, TRT will automatically lower your HDL cholesterol.
Is that because of the rise in testosterone?
Yeah, you have to realize that. Remember that testosterone is about 4 steps away from cholesterol.
Cholesterol, right?
It's a cholesterol molecule. So when you go on TRT, like I said, everybody's different. I see some people that have a decrease of, let's say their HDL was 49, they may come down to 42. I see other people, let's say it's 49, come down to 32, right? It's their genetics. So that's another thing that's going to happen. So omega-3 to increase HDL numbers. Also just being cognizant or aware that if I start dieting really hard too, like a bodybuilding diet for shredding, going into peak week, all these things, like it's a very specific lean diet. Okay. At these times, we're not as much concerned with longevity at the peak week, right?
No. Yeah.
So it's like
literally no bodybuilder ever.
Right. No one ever said
that's
that.
Like literally the most unhealthy part of bodybuilding is that peak week. Really.
Dehydration and all these things, right? So, okay, you obviously know that our diet isn't going to be peaked for longevity, right?
Yep.
So now, again, like we said, if you have cholesterol issues and all these different things, why don't you run these things to make sure that you don't have problems, right? So we know that testosterone lowers HDL. Well, let's use something to make that not happen. Okay? So I'm a huge fan of omega-3, not fish oil. Fish oil is garbage. Whoever is out there buying Costco fish oil, please do not.
Can you explain the difference?
Absolutely. So fish oil, generally speaking, is omega-3, 6, and 9. Okay? So you see like, oh man, this one's Alaskan cod or this one's Alaskan salmon. You'll see like just different marketing on these bottles. Or krill. Krill is another one that people use. These things are naturally higher in omega-3. That's why they market it that way. Alaskan cod or all these different things. Well, they're naturally higher in omega-3. Well, stop taking fish oil and just take high amounts of straight up omega-3.
Yeah, because
that's the one that lowers
enough omega-6s and other stuff from whatever else.
You do not need any more omega-6s. I promise. Yeah. That's not what you need in your diet. You have enough vegetable, preservatives and like vegetable fats and all these different things that are out there in these foods that we talked about, processed stuff and everything. There's not benefits of these 6 and 9s. So what we really need is the 3. 3 is what is going to lower inflammation. 3, or I don't want to get too in depth, but EPA and DHA, these are the 2 that are broken down.
EPA,
Not to be confused with DHEA. There is a lot that goes into that, but omega-3 in general, for your audience or whoever else, like go that direction. Right. And again, we have a pharmaceutical grade omega-3 that you can use. That's natural, obviously.
The one I'm pretty sure it's the one that I have for you guys. It has D3 in it too.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
Great combination.
All right. So we're back. So some things that I actually take myself. I've been taking it's this elemental line from Huge Supplements. So really glad that they came out with this. I actually kind of pushed them to come out with this. I was like, I'm not going to join you. I'm not going to join your company unless you guys have this, because there's only one other company I know that does something like this that's similar. That's Revive. And I really want to have these like organ support ancillaries. So they finally came out with it, and loved the line. But in addition to fish oils, are there any other things that you would recommend in regards to like bodybuilding health, staying proactive with your health when you're doing bodybuilding and when you're doing cycles? So the ones that I am taking are, it's a KSM 66. So, ashwagandha extract.
Out of all of the ones, KSM is my favorite of all that.
Is it? Okay. We got to talk about that in a second.
Okay.
Yohimbine HCl, vitamin D3, of course. You guys have that in your fish oil. Great for reducing inflammation. Then they have their own fish oil, citrus bergamot, astragalus root, and then CoQ10.
Yeah, dude,
the great CoQ10, and then turmeric. I do personally take CoQ10 in addition to red yeast extract, making sure obviously I take the CoQ10, not the red yeast extract by itself. I don't really know just how much it would actually help that how much it helps that I continue to take red yeast extract. Yeah. But basically your opinion on all of those and any other ancillaries that you think are important when it comes to being proactive about your health.
Yeah. Coserin, I think Coserin is the one that I've used most, which is the Q10 derivative that I've used. And so that's the one that I have most of the information about. That's a whole topic, I think, on its own. But that one, because the research and the R&D that has gone into that, like that is I've seen people use it in high amounts, and that is an incredible medication there's a myriad of things that it lowers. Inflammation lowering, helps with like blood pressure, cholesterol. I mean, there's like so many different things that it can help with. So that's a great one to have in the arsenal. D3 we talked about, yes, but I mean, really, even with like the organ support, that is a good one, especially if you're competitive into bodybuilding, because not only does increasing your training increase your liver enzymes and kidney values,
right,
but if you're using anything else, right, it's going to, and we're not saying anything like more supplements.
Yeah, literally just supplements.
Yeah,
right. I mean, consuming more protein.
Yeah. Well, and you'd be surprised how many people that we get come in with FLD that they didn't even know they had, fatty liver disease, right?
Oh, wow.
That they literally there's so much accumulation of fat in the liver that liver enzymes go up. The liver can't filter as much as it normally can. So anything to help those. And I see people with liver enzymes elevated constantly. And it's a huge point of contention because I need to ensure that it's not a lifestyle habit, right? Because that's an easy fix. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Right.
I just want to chime in if I could before I forget this. Actually, it's thanks to Transcend that I was able to ever get my liver enzyme. I was at this after I competed for my pro show. Obviously, when I competed for my pro show, I took some orals. Biggest reason why I'd say that I had a fucked up liver. My liver enzymes were always in the hundreds. Pretty sure they probably were like in 200s at some point, or like some of them, maybe the ALT. Always really bad. I actually had to get a biopsy, get my liver checked out. We were worried about me having hemochromatosis, fatty liver disease as well. A lot of issues. My last blood work was my most recent blood work with Transcend. I've been doing a lot of protocols that I have known after my awareness of my liver, and then things in order to be proactive about its health. And now my liver enzymes are AST is in the 20s, ALT is in the 30s.
Jeez.
Which is fucking awesome.
That's incredible. It's awesome. As a freaking bodybuilder, like, come on, competitive bodybuilder.
As a bodybuilder too, right? Exactly. So, which is, getting me like, I know I'm going to do this going back on stage, but it gets me excited to go back on stage,
right?
Knowing that
because you're ready.
I'm ready. I'm at least healthy right now. So,
dude, and glutathione too is that the medication?
That's one of the ones that I'm really happy about that I got from Transcend that I know has made a huge impact. Best antioxidant. And I only take less than most people do. What I believe I take 3 milliliters a week.
That's what I take.
Yeah, that's what you take. Okay,
exactly nice. What I do.
I was told that Jesse takes like a milliliter every day.
Well, yeah. So here's the deal, right? Like glutathione is by far one of my favorite medications, and that's why we were getting on this topic. We were talking about the liver enzymes. I was waiting for this to drop because not only does glutathione, it is the most powerful antioxidant available in the human body. It's considered a tripeptide. It's a sulfur base. So even when you extract it out, you can smell it. I'm sure you've smelled it before. And it has a very sulfury smell to it. But essentially for people listening that don't know about glutathione is, in layman's terms, the way I love to put it is a good visual, is imagine a fly trap You know those ones that like you hang from the ceiling that are like super sticky? Imagine just injecting that fly trap in your blood and watching it go through your body. And being that it's a sulfur base, things attach to the glutathione molecule. Sorry, because it breaks down into it breaks down into different things once you inject it. So with that, you not only get antioxidant support, but glutathione is very unique in that it can pass the blood-brain barrier. And I will tell you, I've done so many different types of experiments with glutathione on myself, and the conclusion that I've come to is like I've not yet to find one medication, peptide, ancillary medication, whatever you want to categorize it in, that has the overall benefit of not only mental clarity, but liver enzymes, organs, right? Anytime you have free radicals in your body, this is an opportunity for your body to either make cancer cells. I mean, there's oxidative stress is not good in your body. So it's lessening that, being that you have stress in your brain. Like there's brain inflammation. Okay? What happens when you take the inflammation out of your brain? You get mental clarity. You get all these lack of inflammation. So that's why I've used it. Especially if I've had like a long work week, or I have something like I'm just pushing it to Friday for whatever reason. Dude, I'll do a shot of glutathione on like Friday morning. My day is so much better.
Dude, it's
my day is so
sick.
much better, dude.
Pretty cool.
And again, we're talking on a product here that, okay, let's
for all the ravers out there, take a shot of glutathione before and after your rave.
Dude.
I swear to God, you will never get sick.
Right.
I have never gotten sick at a rave since I've been with Transcend.
Dude.
I mean, I also have my own protocols and stuff to stay healthy and all these things. But I mean,
I'm the same way.
I don't get sick anymore. It's crazy.
I'm the same way. And I'll be honest, I've used glutathione now. Like me and my wife, here's a great example, right? Me and my wife, she's prescribed glutathione as well, from Transcend. And I'm not a huge fan of doing a 1 milliliter shot of a water-based medication every day.
Shots reminds me of my next question, by the way, before I forget. But yeah. No.
So that for me, I would much rather do it. So my protocol is either I do 2.5 cc's or 3 cc's once a week.
Gotcha.
And if I feel like I need it for an acute problem, or I'm having a mental strain or something like that, I'll throw a milliliter in.
Okay.
Right? But generally speaking, I have not been sick in 5 years.
Wow.
And I'm not going to say blatant statement that it is because of the glutathione.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of things.
Yeah, but we've had a lot of stuff going on, right?
We have.
With viruses and
Right.
other bad things.
Yeah, I don't think I've had a single fever since before COVID.
Well, yeah, and dude, what I do too, just have it on deck. It is so affordable. Even if you didn't use it, like we have so many people, we have like immune stacks that we sell often, right? Where people get into the winter months, we know that this is coming, right? We have a stack of like glutathione, different other medications. We have like immune support through our pharmacies that make their proprietary blend of stuff as well. So there's different things that people use when it comes to this time frame. But I'm just saying that for myself, like, talk about an ancillary medication that you want to use all the time, affordability, like general health, and like I said,
how much is glutathione?
Oh man, I think we're talking $98 for a 30 milliliter vial.
For a whole 30 milliliter vial?
You can't go wrong.
Nah, yeah.
Right? And that's...
People will spend way more on like just a simple immune support or...
Dude, they'll go buy a couple beers at night with pizza.
How much is emergency and airborne? I say are probably the best things that you can get for your immune system that are supplements, and I'm pretty sure those are like $40 to $50 for a box by itself.
Yeah,
so.
And that's what's so interesting, right? That's vitamin C. That's an antioxidant, right? I mean, that's what it's been advertised forever. Dude, I will tell you right now, the efficacy of glutathione versus vitamin C is unbelievable. I mean, look what's modernized, right? People take vitamin C because it's bioavailable.
Do you have any numbers or ways to compare?
Not in front of me. But no, the research shows that a couple different things. Like vitamin C doesn't absorb exactly the same, right? There's not 100% absorption when you take it. It can also change the absorption based off of if you had it fasted or with food. Take out all the stuff. Take out all the... I know if I inject this glutathione, it is going to absorb in my body 100%.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like I said, I don't have the numbers here in front of me. I apologize, but that when you go look at it, the oxidative stress. I mean, dude, here, let's just use this example. Okay, I went to the doctor just like you did, and I went and got blood work done, my annual physical, whatever it was, through my normal PCP family doctor. They saw a slight elevation in liver enzymes, only ALT or AST rather, and they saw a little cholesterol issue or something else. I mean, we're talking like 2 points out of range. Like it could be an error in a lab draw, right? This doctor freaked out and wanted to do the same thing that they wanted to do with you, but yours was a little more justified, right? You had pretty high liver enzymes. She told me that we wanted to have biopsy and all these things. I said, hey, why don't we run blabs again? I'm not advocating that other people do this, but I'm saying I may or may not have done a glutathione dose the next day. And I may or may not have gone and done blood work again and then taken it to her.
What happened?
My liver enzymes were 8 and 6.
Wait, from
This
what? From what again?
2 cc's of glutathione.
From what beforehand?
No, I didn't have any. It was just an abnormality. Just basically there was a couple points elevated over what the reference range was on the LabCorp labs.
Okay.
So I think it's 0 to 44.
Yeah,
Okay?
something like.
So I think I was 46.
And then
And she freaked out. And so
she freaked out over 46.
she wanted to send me to a specialist and all these different things.
No
and
way, a biopsy on 46.
yeah, man. And that's
wild.
And again, I'm not going to say the organization that this person's doctor was with, but
Yeah, everyone's different.
it blows me away that these people just want to take your money and ensure on your dime that everything is 100% perfect, right?
Yeah.
Because guess what? At the end of the day, it's on them if it's not. So what are they going to do?
That makes sense.
Try to help you save money? No, like,
Yeah.
dude, they don't care. They're just going to do whatever it takes to make sure it's not on them, right?
Yeah.
So back to the story. Went back, like I said, the next day. She was not happy. She was like, this doesn't happen. No one has liver enzymes at 46 and then comes in the next day with 8. And I went, so no biopsy, huh? She's like, no. And I was like, all right, see you later. That glutathione shot cost me $3. Right? And I came back with liver enzymes that low.
Shot,
now,
yeah.
I'm not going to inject ascorbic acid or vitamin C. Do you think my liver enzymes are going to go down to 6? Like, that doesn't happen.
No.
No, it's not as efficacious of an antioxidant.
Right. Okay. So now let's go off of that because we have like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Shots. That's one of the other biggest things that people are scared about. The reason why a lot of guys don't want to start TRT or HRT. So let's talk about shots, injections. So one thing that I like to tell people, if you're doing something like TRT, you don't even have to do a big ass harpoon. You can literally do sub-Q. You could literally do, or you don't even have to do sub-Q. And what subcutaneous is into your fat or like under the skin, not into the muscle. You could literally, like I literally use an insulin needle, and sometimes I choose to go in the muscle instead of the fat simply because I want to.
Yeah.
And the insulin needle is literally that big. Imagine like a 31 gauge. It's literally like it looks like a string.
It's like a bee sting. It's like where you can't even
It's like a bee sting, a bee sting that you literally don't feel, or like basically the needles that people like prick your finger so they can draw some blood for like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't feel it.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. So I never feel that either. 31 gauge and like a third of an inch or something, you know? So if you guys want to do TRT, you don't have to use a harpoon.
No.
Like it's really not scary. And maybe you might be nervous at first, but I promise, like, I like, I mean, maybe this is just me and I'm not trying to push anything on everyone, but I personally do actually get excited for my shots.
Yeah, well,
Like I get excited for my shots now, and that's crazy because I had shot anxiety my entire childhood.
Really?
I hated shots. My parents would be like, "It's time for your flu shots," and I would be like, "No, I don't want it. I don't care.
I'm being sick today, so I don't
No,
go."
yeah, I would rather get sick
Yeah.
than take a shot of any kind. I actually once had to get a shot in my glute because I think I was sick in college, and I don't remember what it was. I don't know if it was like some steroidal shot or something.
Antibiotics.
Can't remember what it was. Maybe antibiotics. I don't.
See? Well, you don't know what it is. It's all right.
Yeah. Well, anyways, the fact of the matter is, I got the shot, and I was like talking to the nurse. I was like, I'm getting dizzy, and I don't know why. Like, I'm sorry. I feel like I feel really weird. Is there something in the shot?
Mm-hmm.
And she is like giggling. I'm like, what? What? And she says, sit down, sit down. I'm like, is there anything in the shot? Like, what if I'm allergic to something? She's like, no, you're in shock.
Wow.
Because I was so fucking scared of
dude, you get
needles.
anxiety so bad.
I got so much. Yeah, I got.
Wow.
It was literally because of the needle. Because literally like 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, I was back up, and I'm like, okay, I literally.
Yeah, you were in shock.
Yeah, I was literally in shock.
Yeah.
So now, I literally don't feel anything.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy sticking myself in a weird way. And I feel like it's really not an issue. Now, the glutathione, for sure, you do have to inject a lot more liquid.
Yeah. If I was doing the 3cc injection, like that I'm doing, I would not use an insulin needle for that.
Oh, definitely not.
Because of the volume.
Not 3 cc's.
Right.
For sure.
Now, I'm not going to... You could use a 27 gauge half-inch needle with glutathione if you did like 1 cc. You know, an insulin syringe has...
I actually use 29 gauge half-inch needle for anything that I do 1 milliliter with.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it still
that
works.
works too.
Yeah. I just make sure to pull out slowly, inject slowly. That's it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
We have to preface it with this as well, though. Not everybody... Okay, this term we use, shallow IM, right? Shallow intramuscular injection.
Yeah.
Okay. It's shallow because it's a half-inch. Now, imagine if you had a layer of... let's say 1/4 of an inch or half an inch of fat on
like,
you.
yeah.
Right?
This is true.
So let's just say that, yeah, for generally speaking, like most people don't have a lot of fat on their like delts, on their mid-delts, shoulders. Yeah. If you're going to do that, that would be the place to do it. Now your glute probably with most people, generally, again, that's where people hold fat. So yeah, I mean, that would not go there probably as your first choice. But no, I love the idea of shallow IM injections. I personally don't do sub-Q with most things. Some medications are unique, and I don't want them to hit the bloodstream too fast. So
which ones and why?
Oh, I mean, just different ones. GH peptides are a great example.
How come? Why don't you want to hit them too fast?
So when it comes to more specifically something like CJC and ipamorelin, okay, when you take these GH peptides, you will get like a flushing feeling a little bit when you take them, and that's literally like the peptide hitting the bloodstream. So you'll have some patients who will come and they'll like...
is that the lethargy that sets in from like...
No, it's mostly like... Well, you probably... If you do it correctly, most people don't experience it.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if you shoot it subcutaneous in the fat as directed, you're fine. Now, we have some people that take it upon themselves to say, hey, you know what? I want better absorption. I'm going to shoot it in the muscle. Why not, right? Why wouldn't you want better absorption from going straight into the muscle?
But it's not even better. It's just slower, right?
Yeah, the amount absorbed is probably a little bit better with intramuscular, but not worth debating over in this situation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, with like the CJC and ipamorelin, if you inject that in your muscle, dude, you will be flushed. You'll get this like, you'll feel it coming up, and it'll just all of a sudden overtake your head, and you're kind of just like, whoa. You feel floaty, kind of. That's not the effect I'm looking for. I don't want this like weird, like, oh man, like this is... kind of makes you dizzy a little bit and kind of weird. That's just because it's hitting the bloodstream extremely quickly. So things like that, I would not advise to do, IM. But again, when it comes to these oils and doing your testosterone shot, yeah, you have different options available. The standard in the industry are the harpoons, right? Or what we call that, right? But like 23 gauge 1 inch, 25 gauge 1 inch. And because that's how it's been for years. That's what... The deeper technically you go with a shot, these medications, when you inject them, the correct medical verbiage would be that you're injecting them in depot. Okay, so when you inject something in depot, and you'll even see like if you have a Pfizer bottle of test, it'll say testosterone cypionate depot. Mm-hmm. And so no one ever really asks what that means, but that's what it is. When you inject something in a bolus amount, it's injected in your body. It sits in a little encapsulated oil in your muscle, and then it slowly releases off the ester, right? So that's how it was intended to do. It needs to be deep. That's why originally. Now, again, if we can make these things specific for you, we can say, okay, well, wait a second. How are you low body fat? Because I have people all the time that ask me about shallow injections. And I'll say, yeah, you can do it, but we got to make sure that you don't want to be in this weird void between subcutaneous and IM. Okay, that's where kind of weird stuff can happen. You can have some leakage out of the muscle and it goes under the skin. Okay. And then that can create maybe some inflammation.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
It can make your shoulder look a little bit, if we're using shoulders as an example, can inflame the shoulder and make it look red. It's not an infection.
Yeah.
But it's
Just
just
a little
leaked.
inflammation.
It's
Gotcha.
leaked out of depot.
Right.
Right?
Makes sense.
So now, if you want to inject it sub-Q, you're injecting it in the fat, in the fattiest part you can find, and it's going to slowly, assimilate. But I would definitely stick to either I'm going to do shallow and not say, well, I guess if I'm just if there's just too much fat on my shoulder, it'll be okay. It'll just go sub-Q. Well, yeah, in theory, right, that is the case. But yeah, it's not going to be a great feeling. So,
cool. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And main reason I do use insulin needles for my TRT is because I personally like to inject every day. It's
that's ideal.
It's actually more of a psychological thing that I'm like, oh, it's so much more stable if I inject every day. So I do it. That's like,
yeah.
But like, I mean, I know realistically, if I injected every other day versus every day, for example, there would really be no difference. So moving on, because we got like 5 minutes. So I want to ask as many of these as possible.
All right. If I talk too much, just tell me.
Okay.
Go. Cam,
Gotcha.
shut up. Next one.
The front of my scalp has been thinning. Any advice for recovery? So hair loss.
Oh, man, I would have so many other questions.
I know. I have a lot too.
I know.
Normally, I can just start off with what I know, and then you can like expound real quick.
Sure.
So it's fast. Hair on forehead, bro. So I always my first two things that I suggest as the most effective medications. I actually spoke with an expert from San Diego. It was a hair surgeon. Dude was I don't know, he's super smart. I think his name was Dr. Shafu.
Cool.
Minoxidil and finasteride, two most effective medications out there in terms of hair regrowth.
Absolutely.
But obviously, minoxidil, you can incur a shedding phase if you stop. Finasteride, luckily not. It's DHT, right?
5-alpha reductase blocker, right?
Blocker. Okay, gotcha. And then, I think those are really the most two researched, and I do know that. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could do some microneedling potentially.
That's what I did. I've done it for.
Yeah, I've done microneedling as well.
I would agree with you.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
minoxidil is a calcium channel blocker. It's actually used to be really what it is it's a blood pressure medication. They found out. Well, it also blocks 5-alpha. I mean, not 5-alpha reductase. It opens up the nutrient at the hair follicle and allows for more nutrients to get there.
Minoxidil.
Minoxidil.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
And then
Kind of like the same way that microneedling works. Minoxidil is pretty similar, right?
absolutely.
Like-
and then you do both.
Inflammation in your head.
Right.
Yeah.
Side note, real quick, 2 seconds. Funny, I did microneedling. I have some high blood pressure issues. I did microneedling with minoxidil fresh out of the shower. My blood pressure went down significantly. Out of the shower, better absorption with it, your head being warm.
Yeah.
Microneedling. I used this little roller. I didn't use the actual machine.
Okay.
So I just used a little micro roller. I can tell a significant difference for me. I'm very sensitive with these things. I know when things affect me. Dude, I will watch my blood pressure just continue to go down. So that means that it's systemically going into the body.
That's crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
Which I'm okay with that because for me, I can take a little bit less blood pressure. Now, finasteride. 5-alpha reductase, like we said. I personally don't like using finasteride orally. Okay.
Oh, orally, right? Yeah, I don't either. I do
So,
topical.
and then Proscar would be the 5 milligram version of finasteride. Finasteride is 1 milligram. Proscar is 5 milligrams.
Isn't that for?
Prostate.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, a lot of people think, oh, I'll just use the Proscar one, I'll get better results. Like, nope, that's not how that works. You're going to get a lot of side effects.
Yeah.
So we have a compounded medication that we use that has minoxidil in it and finasteride. I'm really in depth on this subject because I've spent a lot of time on it, and there is so much information that goes into it. I will tell you that those two, like we talked about, are the best place to start, I believe.
Yeah. I agree too. At least the strongest places to start.
Exactly. Now, there are a lot of other medications out there that work very well. You just need to find somebody like us, a compounding pharmacy that makes them in the appropriate dosing. Because some of these pharmacies out there, they'll just put the name in it at a low dose.
Right.
So it's like, oh, it has that in it too. I'll get it. Like, no, make sure it has the right percentage. So, but when it comes down to the formulation for topical, I would say with what I've seen anecdotally, increase in like 2.5 milligrams topically is better than 1 milligram.
Yeah.
So I would say, 2.5 milligrams topically.
Topically, okay.
Minoxidil.
The only reason that I do not do minoxidil is because I don't know if I'm ever going to stop. So
Right.
I don't want to incur that shedding phase. But I do finasteride. It's been freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely changed. Like,
Dude, same here.
especially when I was running a Winstrol, to look dry
Oh my
for
gosh,
like
yeah.
bodybuilding and competitions and stuff. How much DHT increases. It really, really significantly decreased the amount of hair that was coming out. Like I used to have hair like almost coming out in handfuls
No
in the
way,
shower.
dude.
But then the moment I took that, like maybe 3 hairs.
Wow. Yeah,
Big ass
significant
difference.
changes.
Significant, yeah.
And that's not even that expensive. That's the cool thing is like these things, or also through our pharmacy, when you buy the topical version, let it be known that they make this stuff for you. They're combining all of these medications, the ingredients, and you watch them. They're on like a 4-foot plate, right? And they're sitting there with paddles, moving this all together, mixing all of these things for you. So I mean, you are literally getting the freshest stuff. And that tends to be a lot of the issues with these medications is they're not efficient enough. So I would just say, again, we use compounding medications for these things. It works fantastic.
Okay, cool. And then kind of a funny question. Someone asked how to start first TRT cycle. I'm not really.
How to start for get blood work? I don't know.
Yeah.
Start.
Get blood work, and then like they'll recommend you whatever they think might give you like a good average high range, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many other questions again, but
Right, exactly.
It's like I can't speak to them without more details, but nonetheless, yes, start first with blood work.
Yeah. And then my personal recommendation is once you get your blood work and then you figure out how you feel, say that you feel a little bit aggressive or something, check out your blood work, maybe your test is a little high, then you can always just lower the dose by like a few, lower the dose by like 10, 20, 30, whatever you feel.
Right. Make sure you ask your doctor if that's what you should do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people try to take things on their own and do it on their own. It's like, well, hold on.
Yeah.
Ask the doctor. Ask me. Like, I ask the doctor then for you. Right. So,
like, let's put it in our notes first. Right?
exactly. Like, I want to make sure this is documented. So,
And then, okay, this is an interesting question, but I feel like that might be really long. Maybe we can ask this the next time we meet up, but someone was asking, have any experience or know anyone that uses ACP-105 or AC-262?
SARMs.
Are those SARMs? Okay.
Next question.
Okay.
Don't agree.
Okay. Let's see. So, a little bit more off topic, but I know that there's going to be a lot of people that are going into bodybuilding and that are going to join the HRT clinic. And the fact of the matter is, like, yeah, we don't want to promote you taking drugs That was illegal or dope. anything, but at the same time, people are going to bodybuild. Like, people are going to do it, whether we say anything or not.
Right.
Do you have any recommendation for someone if they decided that they were just going to start taking something? Like, is there any recommendations you'd have for somebody? At least, like, maybe health conscious wise, longevity, like.
Well, like I said, I think it would just be realizing to people that, like, you can get really good results with these things. I think that everybody tends to have this feeling that, like, everybody that's on stage at a bodybuilding show automatically uses a ton of stuff. So,
Right, which isn't
right.
Yeah,
And I
isn't
think
the case. I mean, if you're talking Olympia, then that's different.
Sure, but even then,
any like regular shows.
Yeah, let's just say that. Yeah, and that you hear the ongoing joke, right? That's like there's more. You would see a competitor at an NPC show trying to get first place using way more drugs than you may see an Olympian because they already know their protocols. They know that their weaknesses are maybe something else, food oriented.
Right.
They're taking a more methodical approach.
Yeah.
So I would say that just realize that when you start doing these hormones, a little tiny bit goes a very long way, especially if you are just starting this. Here's a great example too. Remember in the forums, like back in the day, the forums were everything, right? Like that's where you got all your information from. I remember, like, circa 2005, 2006, right around there, you would read these forums and these whomever these people were, were like, oh man, start with 500 milligrams your first cycle of test. Dude, that is so much testosterone for somebody. Why are you using so much testosterone the very first time? You don't need that much testosterone. 250 milligrams, 200 milligrams.
Yeah.
Little tiny amounts.
Is a fuck ton.
Right, that's a ton.
Right.
It's so funny for us to say this right now, because if I were to say that 10 years ago, people would be like, you sure you want to do 750? Push it. It's like, no.
Exactly. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I want to tell people that like your response is like, imagine your response to any drug, really. It's like it starts up here and then it drops like that. So like, why do you want to start at literally the maximum, like like your body in response to that dosage compared to like a pro bodybuilder or at least someone who's already taken stuff is absorbently different.
Massive,
just so different. Yeah.
Your body gets very used to these things, and
Right.
steroids are the epitome of this.
Right.
That you start at a certain dose
Right.
and titrate upward.
Right.
Well, why do you titrate? Do you think your results go away? Well, no, they don't go away. You also become accustomed to these things, and then all of a sudden you don't feel like it's working anymore.
Yeah.
You've just psychologically become accustomed.
Right.
So, again, why don't you start low and see what a low dosage is? This is a freaking marathon. This is not a race.
Yeah.
I want to do this
marathon.
for the rest of my
Right.
life.
So the way, yeah, exactly. Right. It's like, I think maybe taking gear or taking any of these substances can like basically push your gas pedal a little harder, but it doesn't get you like instantly teleporting like 1,000 miles down the road.
No.
Right.
No.
So it's about the journey, and you're enhancing the actual journey and the movement itself.
Yes.
But the road is still going to always be there. You cannot teleport anywhere. You can't move anywhere that much faster. You have to take it slow and take it day by day.
Right.
And then that's what gets you past your maximum potential, even further with the minimum side effect. Right.
Well, and that's the key, right?
Because time.
That's the key with the side effects. How many people do you know that go on stage that have side effects from using too much gear and all these other medications that actually ruins their physique over enhancing their physique?
And very likely because they were in a hurry.
Yeah, or they don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why it's just over and over and over and over again we talk about there's efficacy and synergy between certain medications, but generally speaking, we don't throw the whole kitchen sink at you. You don't throw the whole kitchen sink at something just to see if something sticks, right? That's a very uneducated approach to something.
Right.
So I think this is a good example here too, being that we're at Olympia this weekend. Okay, we see this is the best in the world that are here, and when you start realizing that all of this really comes down to not just optimizing hormones, but 20 other things too, right? And you see these people that are here that are the best of the best of the best, and there's hundreds of them, right? It's like, I guarantee you, most of these people, if they would have, gone crazy when they first started, they would probably, if they were honest with you, they would tell you that like that was a bad mistake.
Yeah.
And when you talk in depth with these people, they will say that.
Yeah.
Right?
Basically everyone has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you got to get to that point, and but I think I would agree that, I would say that that's probably the biggest thing that I see.
Yeah, there is definitely a lot of points in time where I went way harder than I wish I did. But now looking back, I'm actually happy that I didn't do too much and I didn't go too crazy, because now I still have the potential to grow a lot now that I want to jump on the Olympia stage. Like, I've never taken tren once. I've never taken tren, and I'm going to save that for the stage. And I know for a fact the moment I jump on it, I'm going to respond crazy to it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be sick.
When are you going to pull that? The way I say it is, when are you going to pull the ACE card?
Right. Yeah. That's a good one.
So pull
I
your
like
ACE
that.
card, and we can attribute this to, like, if you want to, like, college football, high school football.
Yeah.
There were kids in high school that I would friends with. They were doing all kinds of crazy stuff so they could get into college ball, right?
Yeah.
Then they got into college ball, didn't work out. Now, have that same person not pull that ACE card when they're in high school, because that's not smart. Pull that ACE card when you went to high school, you went to college. Now what happens if you pull that ACE card when you go professional? You're going to be exponentially better, right? Mm-hmm. So it's the same thing with bodybuilding. You throw everything at you your first 2 years. Good luck getting a response and figuring things out and getting somebody to help you to find a protocol that's going to work for you. So it's like, this is what we find all the time is androgen downregulation, or the ability to not have the sensitivity toward it.
Right.
And it's all too common. Happens all the time.
Okay, awesome. All right, I'm glad we ended on that.
Yeah,
that was everything, dude. Thank you so much for getting on this podcast. That was super sick. I have like so much more that I would love to talk to you about.
We could sit here for a very long time.
Yeah, we could. We really could. So I think even better. Now I would love to have you on another time.
Yeah,
at
absolutely.
some point soon. Maybe we could even have Jesse on at the same time.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna fly out to Michigan, right?
Michigan.
Yeah. Well, we just made the whole podcast studio and everything for Transcend.
Oh yeah.
So now things are gonna be hopping over there. So I'm sure you'll get an invitation here very soon.
Oh, hell yes. Okay, cool. Yeah. That'll be awesome. Well, anyways, Cameron Chapman,
yes, sir.
right? From Transcend. Is there anywhere where we can find you, or like anywhere where you have your work?
Yeah, I mean, like even if you go to like the Transcend website, like the best way to get in contact with me is fill out like our intake form that takes like 5 seconds to do. It's like your name, some basic information.
Okay, yeah.
And then what you can do is in that, like there's a category down there what'll be like, hey, you're working with a wellness specialist or something like that. That's fine. You can do that. You can go that direction. Or if you want, you can just send me like an email. And my email address is just Cameron@transcendcompany.com.
Okay.
So that's the best way.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Of course.
And we all appreciate you actually putting out your contact in that, because I know that you could get like tons and tons of messages and everything. So
it does.
Appreciate you putting yourself out there.
That's how you help people.
And then if you guys are interested in Transcend, or even want to speak to a specialist and learn more about it, my link for Transcend is below in the description, or in the bio, or wherever you're listening to the podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Basically, you just fill out the form and you will get in contact with one of their specialists.
Yeah, very quickly.
Right? Yeah, very quickly. So very thankful for this company. And finally, if you guys want to support me in any other way, you can support me by using my code Nile with either Young and Lay, the clothing that I wear, or Huge Supplements. I spoke of Huge earlier when I was speaking of the Elemental line, which is the ancillaries that I use in order to be proactive about my organs and stuff while I'm bodybuilding. So thanks again, guys. This was awesome. I appreciate it. Glad that I got to have this awesome conversation with you, man.
Yeah, man. We'll talk soon.
Yeah,
awesome.
bet.
Thanks, dude.
Love you guys. Peace.
Peace.